Good afternoon, everybody. Well, not really good. Not good because we got some bad news. And right now, things are very delicate with the Seahawks. A little bit of good news means a lot, but at the same time, a little bit of bad news, it it hurts. And this is definitely bad news. So, Will Dissly, the tight end who has played almost as many snaps as our nominal starting tight end this year, the I'd say most well-rounded, at least. Let's just say the minimum here. The most well-rounded tight end on this roster has gotten hurt, and he's not coming back this year. Seahawks have placed Will Dissly on injured reserve, so he's looking at missing a minimum of 4 games. We have 2 games left. So unless the Seahawks make a run to the NFC title game, Dissly's season is over. And it's obviously unfortunate because Dissly was an important piece of one of the things that made this offense unique with the way they utilized tight ends. A lot of 2 tight end sets, a lot of 3 tight end sets. So this is unfortunate. It's also unfortunate for him because Will Dissly was enjoying the best year of his career. If you pull up his numbers, you can see he had never been targeted more than 30 times in a year before. This year he had been targeted 38 times. His previous career high in catches was 24. This year he had 34. He had never had more than 251 receiving yards. This year he had almost 350. So it was a career year for him. He did not quite achieve his career high in receiving touchdowns, which that was a surprise because Will Dissly was catching touchdowns like it was going out of style at the start of the year. I think he had 3 in the first month, and then he forgot what the end zone has looked like over the last 3 months. So, still the best year of his career, which is something that I actually predicted before the season started. He did not quite manage to get into the end zone enough to set a career high there, but it's still, by far, the best season of his career so far, and now he's going to miss these next couple games. And he was a significant enough part of the team to believe that that's going to hurt. Although, I will say, if you take a look at the recent games, his production had really slowed down. He had 3 catches against the Cardinals. He had 4 catches against the Chargers. Other than that, it's a bunch of games where it's like 1 catch, 1 catch, 2 catch, 2 catches, 2 catches, 2 catches. Like very, very low impact in the passing game. Now, I was still a fan of what he was doing as a blocker. I think he's had a good year as a blocker as well. Again, this is a well-rounded player that we're talking about here in Will Dissly. But still. So where does that leave us? Apparently we are promoting Xavier Crawford, the cornerback, off the practice squad to replace the roster spot, which obviously that's not a tight end. So that means we currently have 2 active tight ends on the roster, which means no more 3 tight end sets. I guess you could promote Mabry for a game time promotion. You only have 2 games left, and you haven't promoted Mabry yet this year. So maybe you promote Tyler Mabry for these last 2 games, and he becomes your 3rd tight end. But there's not much to say about Tyler Mabry. He is a practice squad body. So I don't know if that's going to be good enough to justify giving him 20-plus snaps a game. Obviously, this does mean we get to see a little more Colby Parkinson, which is kind of cool. Although we've seen plenty of Colby this year, and it's been mostly pretty good. So, I don't know what Xavier Crawford's going to do. Probably just play special teams. But Dissly will be missed. It's a bummer. He's a cool dude. He was having a good year. He was a part of what we were doing. And when you're trying to figure out the path that the Seahawks need to follow to make the playoffs this year, now you have to do it without Dissly. I think that path becomes not massively harder to walk, but significantly harder to walk. So, yeah. He should be back for next year. I don't believe this is a massive injury. It's a knee injury, but it doesn't sound like he ripped anything up. It doesn't sound like anything's like shattered. I have every reason to believe he'll be back next year. He's under contract. He signed that 3-year deal before the season started. So I think we are going to get Will Dissly for the full duration of 2023, or at the very least, he'll be ready for the start of 2023. But this is unfortunate for a guy who had really turned the corner. I mean, as you can see, after the first 2 years of his career when he couldn't stay on the field, he had played in almost every game the last 2, and the games that he missed were largely because of COVID. if I recall correctly, in 2021. So, unfortunate setback, but we move on. We do have one other little bit of news. Also, I would call this bad news. The Packers have poached one of our practice squad players, Bo Melton. Bo Melton is off the Seahawks. He has gone to the Green Bay Packers. So that's kind of a bummer to me because I liked Bo Melton. I was excited to see what he could do. He did do a little bit of positive stuff in the preseason. I think he had 7 catches, 89 yards. Condota listed here. So there was some intriguing talent there, but he's no longer on the team, and there's hard to believe he would find his way back here at any point. We'll see what happens, but he was a guy you spent a draft pick on. You liked him enough to spend a draft pick on him. You were clearly stashing him with plans to at least see what he could do at some point, but now you're probably just moving forward without him. So I'm a little bummed out about this one too. I'm not going to pretend like it's a big deal. Bo Melton had never played in a regular season game for the Seahawks. He had 0 snaps on the year. No meaningful play this year at all. So I'm not going to act like this affects anything. And I'm also not going to act like it was likely that Bo Melton was ever going to be anything. Like, he's a lottery ticket. He's one of those players who could go one way or the other in the league. Excuse me, my bad. And I think that at the end of the day, the Seahawks need to place some serious focus this offseason on their wide receiver depth, either way, with Bo Melton, without Bo Melton. I think we need to spend some draft capital on a receiver, like not a 7th-round pick, but a serious pick. But I'm a little bummed about Bo Melton because at the bare minimum, I thought maybe this guy could become a good return man. Maybe once he got to the point where we trusted him to be able to field returns, be able to field kickoffs or punts, he might be able to contribute in that area. And never manifested because we really could use somebody who's at least competent in that area. So, 2 little pieces of news. One is obviously a lot bigger and more significant and more of a bummer than the others, but neither is welcome. Let's just put it that way. So, stream tonight over on the Hawks Nest channel. Going to be streaming with the Hawks Nest on the Chiefs. I'm sorry, the Chiefs post game. So head on over there, subscribe if you're not already subbed. We're going to spend an hour or two talking about that Chiefs game. And you guys know how we do things by now. You guys know how we have fun. Obviously, the way this season is ending for the Seahawks is not particularly good, but we're going to digest whatever needs to be digested. Probably going to talk at least a little bit about the Broncos as well. That part's a little more positive for the Seahawks right now, right? So we'll at least spend a little bit more time talking about that. Should be one more video today at the least. You can probably catch me on Twitch tonight. So hope to see you in some capacity later today. Go Hawks. And not great news to move through your Tuesday here. Will Dissly on IR, done for the rest of the year almost certainly. And Bo Melton moves on to the Packers.